Hey, y'all. Uh, sorry, got choked. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. It's Blood Bling, back to bring some grumpiness to your internet. And welcome back to Redneck Radio, the live stream, where today you get an extra healthy side helping of pan fried pork chops with fried potatoes and fresh from the garden green beans and corn. Oh, that sounds good to me. Sounds like a good meal. As you can see, at the moment, I'm by myself, but that's not going to be the case very much longer. Badger will actually be along in a little bit, but he had to go. Uh, well, he had to go to the bathroom at the last minute. That's what's going on. So hope everybody's having a good day, a good almost end of their week, um, and ready for the rest of the day, I guess. I'll throw this out there, then I probably won't mention it again. I happy Halloween. As I've mentioned before, I'm really not a fan of the holiday. Well, I'm not a fan of the holiday season here in America, period. Really don't like it. If it weren't for my grandkids, I wouldn't celebrate any of them. I really wouldn't. But yeah, uh, that's tonight. And if that's your thing, then I hope you have a good time doing it. If you're like me, turn out your lights and hide, and nobody will bother you. And yeah, who we got out in the chat right now? We've got Jaeger Pony, we got Havoc, we got Michael Weiner, Iceman Northland, Talik, Beth Castleman, Kyler, Clinton Whitaker, Functionals out there. Hey, buddy. Green Thunder, Demighty, Foxy's out there, Sheograth, Asian Hippie. Oh my gosh, a bunch of yous out there. Cannibal Caretaker. What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a good day and a good time. And thank you for coming and hanging out with me for a little bit. I appreciate it. You know, I don't get out of the house a lot. Well, I do leave the house. I take my grandkids to school every day and all that, but that's different. I don't get out for pleasure much out of the house. So this is like just going and having a talk with a friend. That's for me. Enjoy it. Nuts out there in the chat. Mad Max, Zombie Teddy. Hey, what's going on? Uh, so glad to see everybody that's come out. As you can see in the title, Baby It's Cold Outside. And yeah, that was kind of a backhanded reference to the song, but it's because it's really getting cold outside. Here where I live in Indiana, it is currently 36 degrees and snowing. It's just a light snow, but it's supposed to get heavier as the night goes on. So we're going to have a snowy Halloween here. And for those of you that don't do Fahrenheit, 36 degrees is just 4 degrees above freezing. So yeah, it's getting pretty cold. I still haven't put a coat on. I've just run out in my long sleeve shirt, unbuttoned, with a t-shirt underneath. But it's getting there. It's getting there. I just hate wearing a heavy coat, and so I'll put it off to the last minute. Clinton Whitaker says we have tornado warnings here. Huh? It must be warmer wherever you're at, Clinton. But tornado warning certainly is something that I'm used to. Living in the middle of Tornado Alley as I do. But dang, I think Badger must have fell in, because he sent me a tweet like 15 minutes ago and said he'd be along shortly. Had to go to the bathroom. Must have fell. Stroke, Badger, stroke. uh, so yeah. Anyway, uh, it's 73 right now. I'm supposed to be 31 by midnight tonight. Clinton Whitaker says, yeah, that's uh, we've had a pretty big temperature drop. It actually started the day out at a fairly decent temperature in the 50s, and it fell sharply a couple of hours ago. And is supposed to fall even more sharp. Well, here before too long, they said about 3 o'clock. So, uh, yeah, it's getting cold, even though it's not officially here. Winter is coming. Winter is coming, and I hope all the moms with their little trick or treating kids out there are safe tonight in the cold and the snow. And this morning it was pouring rain. Hey Jen, it was. I mean, just pouring rain. I don't see good in the rain anyway, but you rain when it's still dark. It is still dark when I'm out taking the grandkids to school. In fact, it's getting to the point where it's almost still dark by the time I get home. Uh, I was a nervous wreck. I can't see a thing, and some moron. Just right after I picked my granddaughters up, and I'm heading to the school, some moron pulls out of a gas station, pulls into the breakdown lane, or the turn lane that you would use to turn into places there, and with I guess didn't see me, starts coming over into me. I'm laying on the horn yelling at him. My my granddaughter says, "What's the matter with him?" I said, "I guess he's stupid." I said, "Your mama would be really mad if I wrecked her car." And they both at the same time piped up, "But it wouldn't be your fault. It was his fault." Thank you. But yeah, that was my morning, and I was just a nervous wreck because I could not see. I couldn't see a thing. It was just pouring so hard, raining so hard. Plus, my wife's car has a headlight out now, so I've only got one headlight going. I just couldn't see a thing. So by the time I got back, I was like, whew, thank goodness I'm back and off them roads because I couldn't see a thing. Uh, and it's getting, I don't know what it is lately around here. All the idiots must have come out to drive. Yesterday, I was on my way there to pick them up, and there's a short little hop I use as a shortcut. I'm coming down one major road, and an interstate passes through there. There's a lot of interstates in Indianapolis. That's why we have the nickname of Crossroads of America. Yes, I'm night blind. I am very much night blind, but I can see in the dark very well, but driving, not so much. But you put me in a dark room or out in the dark woods, I can actually see very well in the dark. But I think that's part of the problem, because one of the issues with night blind is the oncoming lights, and street lights are blinding. And my eyes are very light sensitive, so that would explain it. And boy, the wind is picking up out there. You may hear my doors slam because the front door's busted and tied shut, but it jiggles. And whoo, that wind is cold coming underneath that door. I even put a throw rug up against the bottom of the door, and it's still getting around. Wow. But yeah, anyway, there's a little shortcut I take. It cuts a couple of minutes off. I just take this little short section of interstate. And as I got on the interstate, this other car starts riding my tail. And I mean, he's running so close that I cannot see his headlights half the time. And so I put up with it for a while. I'm watching him, but I put up with it. But as I'm getting closer to my exit to get off, I with my left foot, I tap my brake to brake light him, to let him know, hey, you need to back the heck off, dude. It's dark. We're doing 60, 65 mile an hour, and I can't even hardly see your headlights. I I had a pair of those yellow sunglasses years ago. I mean, years ago, but my eyes are so bad they would have to be prescription, and I have no idea how expensive that would be. My glasses are expensive enough because I wear trifocals, so I can't even imagine. But um, anyway, so I brake like this guy. Just I don't actually hit my brakes. I just tap it with my left foot to make the light come on and off. Dude brights me and gets even closer. And instantly my dander is up. I'm like, oh, you and me gonna fight, dude. We gonna fight. uh, he even passed me at the bottom. He followed me off on the entrance exit and then passed me. I could not see. His windows were too dark to see who it was, whether it was even a he or she or what it was. But they kind of swerved over at me. I'm like, dude, you're acting like an extreme idiot, and you're the one that was tailgating. It was your fault. I was just letting you know to back off a little. Um, he says, Diesel Davis says they make clip-ons. I might have to check it out. I I don't drive at night very often. I try to drive at night as seldom as possible. Although, as I said, we are in that time of year where it's dark when I go to get my granddaughters. The sun usually comes up about the time I get them dropped at school or starts coming up. But with the time change coming up, I think that's this Sunday. We're going to fall back, so it's going to be dark the whole time. But other than that, I try not to be out when it's night. I really try. Yes, Nuts, you are completely correct. People are idiots, and that's why I hate to drive anymore. I used to love to drive when I first got my license, when I was young, a teenager, early 20s. Loved to drive. And just not anymore. I haven't for quite a while. Havoc says drive a manual shift from fifth to third, slows down the car without setting off the brake lights. If he's tailgating you and bumper checks you, it's on him. Yeah, I was going to start slowing down even more. I can't drive a manual anymore, Havoc. My legs won't handle it. My legs and hips just won't do it. I'd be in serious pain by the time I got home. Other than that, I don't mind driving a manual. I've sure had a lot of them. Everything from 3 on the tree to 5 speeds on the floor. So I've had a lot of them. Yeah, Banzo says they use their cell phone, and I will yell at them while they're using their cell phone. I've been known to roll up next to somebody on a stop sign, roll down my window, and yell at them to put down their cell phone. It's so dangerous, and it really ticks me off. I don't know what they were doing. Like I said, it was dark, and his windows were tinted, so I couldn't see anything. And I keep saying him. It's because I don't know if it was a he or a she. My goodness. Badger must have really fell in. I hope everything's okay. He sent me a Twitter message that I hadn't seen tonight. I'm so sorry. My mom just called for dinner. I'll join you as soon as I can. Should be around 10 minutes. I sincerely apologize. That's okay. I get it. When mom calls for dinner, you go to dinner. But he'll be here. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to give him grief when he gets back. But yeah, I just don't like to drive anymore. I really do hate it. I really do. In my experience, most tailgaters are men, Kyler says. Yeah, but I have seen some that are women. I seriously have. It's usually those women that look like they want to see your manager. Like they're so important, and they probably talk like a valley girl, and I want to see your manager. And you got to speed up, or I'm going to ride on your bumper. And I guess I aggravate a lot of people around me because I actually drive speed limit. And now that I've gotten older, I actually drive speed limit. I don't I'm in no hurry to yeah, to like, oh my God. It's I don't know what it is. Lately the idiots have been out on the road in Indianapolis. You'd think being such a big racing town that people know more how to drive better. Hey Amanda, hey old man, you got dentures? Because I do now. Yes, I do. I have uppers. I don't have the bottoms done. Wished I did. Yeah, it does change the way that your face look, and it'll my facial hair helps hide things. It changes the way your upper lip looks a lot because it makes it stick out a little bit because your dentures fit over, up in there. But I wouldn't trade up for the world with the teeth that I had. I'd do it all over again. Devil Fruit Zero, I'd say you're calling to driver ham because men are aggressive like that. Personally, I want to get out and beat the crap out of tailgaters myself. That's my male aggression, right? And like I said, hold on a second. Let me get a drink here. Got choked. Good old Mountain Dew. Anyway, yeah, you want to tick me off while I'm driving? The quickest way is to tailgate me. I get fired up. I get road rage really bad, which is why I don't like to drive anymore. It wasn't always like that. I get road rage really, really bad. Thanks, Diesel Dave. I'll check it out after a bit. The swelling will go down, Amanda, pretty soon. And I'll give you one piece of advice. Don't take them out. Leave them in. I've seen so many people get dentures and then they can't wear them because they won't buckle down and keep them in. And they'll choke you at first and they'll feel odd and they'll even hurt at first. But after a while, you get used to them. And then you can't imagine life without them. It's kind of like that, when you get married, you put a ring on your finger and you feel that ring. It's there. But after a while, you get used to it. You don't even realize there's a ring on your finger. Yeah. There he is. What's about Deckham time?
I'm so sorry.
Dude, it's all right. When mom calls for supper, trust me. When my mom was alive, if she called you for supper, you better go.
Yeah, exactly. And it was good. It was really good.
I can't blame you. Good eats always comes first. But I told the chat that doesn't mean I wasn't going to give you grief when you got here.
Of course.
So, how you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Cold at the moment. It's turned very cold here. It's actually been snowing a little bit, just spitting a little snow, but it's supposed to snow more as the night wears on, and so we're supposed to have a snowy Halloween.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I look, the last time here in Germany we had a snowy Christmas. I'm not talking Halloween. I don't think we ever had it. Oh, I think it was 1 year when I was really little where we actually had a snowy Halloween. Other than that, just no. When I said it got cold here a little bit as well, I'm not saying snow.
Yeah.
It's more like, okay, during the night we barely drop into the negative Celsius. So around, what would it be, 30 Fahrenheit? 25 to 30 Fahrenheit. Yeah. That's what we drop into at night.
Well, it's already at 36 degrees Fahrenheit right now and dropping.
During the day?
Right now, yes.
Jeez.
Started out the day in the 50s.
I mean, that's something.
But they've been forecasting it for a couple of days now, so, we have no excuse for not knowing what's coming. Thank you, Clinton Whitaker, for the donation. Whoops.
That's the wrong one.
Chat jumped on me just as I clicked. Badger is a grown furry and should be cooking for his mother.
Clinton, I changed my avatar for you. You can suck my balls.
Hey, but it's an idea, though. You ever cook for your mom? Say, hey, mom, hey, take a break. Let me cook for you.
Yeah, of course. Not all the time, obviously, but every now and then, yeah, sure.
Well, good on you.
I mean, isn't that standard?
Well,
Isn't
yeah,
that
I
a
used to
normal
love
thing
to
to do?
cook for my mom, especially in later years where she really couldn't cook anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm not a good cook, but there's
I am.
there's a couple recipes I'm pretty good at, but usually, like she's much more experienced, obviously, simply due to her age, but also, she's much better as a cook.
Yeah.
So, but every now and then, yeah, I help her. For example, peeling the potatoes, or
I hate peeling potatoes.
I love it.
I hate.
You know what you need to do. So
I like eating them. I hate peeling them.
Yeah. So what I always use, we have an asparagus peeler,
Mm-hmm.
and I use that. It's perfect. It's so easy. You're not cutting yourself. Like it's perfect.
Well, I don't use a paring knife. I'll use one of those peeler kind of thing. They
Yeah.
swivel and they're curved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a little bit too much, but but yeah, one of those peeler things. Yeah. That's pretty much what I use as well.
Sean DW says, I can't wear dentures, make me gag trying to put them in. Yeah, and they will at first. That's what I was telling Amanda earlier. Do herself a favor and force herself to leave them in, because once she starts taking them out, she'll never get used to them. Trust me, my wife got both her uppers and lowers done years ago. We both had bad teeth, and her bottoms teeth would gag her. So she'd take them out, and she never got used to them. And she's not worn them to she paid all that money for them. And dentures are not cheap, folks, at all. And she's worn them maybe 2-3 times since she's had them. She just doesn't wear her bottom teeth. You can't tell, because it's your bottom teeth. But
yeah, hard to see.
Yeah. Diesel Dave, thank you for the donation. December 22nd is the first day of winter, which is my birthday, and I hate being cold. Yeah, we were talking about, my granddaughters and I were talking about that this morning, because one of them says, well, winter's here. And I said, well, technically, no. I think it's around the 21st or 22nd of December is the winter solstice. And they go, what's the solstice? So, yeah, we had a whole conversation about what the solstices were, and the winter and summer solstice. And I actually get to have some very interesting conversations with my two granddaughters while we're taking them to school. You wouldn't believe the things they come up with and want to ask about.
I'm pretty sure I would believe them. Kids tend to have a very vivid imagination.
Oh, and these two are smart as a whip. They go to a college prep elementary school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
that's early.
Yeah, and the younger of the two, the 8-year-old, actually just got straight A's on the latest report card. So that's saying something, to get straight A's in a college prep school.
That is definitely something. Now, old man,
you
must have bought him a treat or two for that, right? Like,
I haven't.
Take him out for ice cream or something like that. You got.
I didn't know about it until yesterday. They just got their card, so I haven't got them anything, but I will.
Okay, good. The one thing, look, as someone who has been in school not too long ago, not 200 years ago like you've been, only, what was it now? Not even 10 years since I've graduated from high school. And I'm sorry for that dig, but
good grief, not even 10 years. And I've been out since, how many years has it been? I suck at math. It's been 41 years.
Oh, wow. For me, it was 9 and a bit now. It was June 2010. So what is it now? 9 years and 4 months?
1978, midterm.
Oh, wow. But But yeah, as someone who hasn't been out of school that long, it was always nice when you got good grades, and then you could show it around and your whole family. And I used to, oh man, if you knew, like every good, obviously only the good report cards I got. Obviously, I mean, come on, you don't show them out.
Well, when I was a kid, it was the thing that kids would change their grades because we got handwritten report cards.
Oh no, you can.
And they were actually a card. It wasn't like a sheet of computer paper. It was it was like kind of card stock, and it folded, and it was pretty big size. You opened it up, but it was handwritten with pen, and kids would try to change those F's into A's and stuff to show their. I never did that. I never had to. I usually, at that age, I got good grades. It wasn't until I got older and started goofing off.
And see, the thing here in Germany is that every report card you get is an official document, meaning by law, if you decide to alter it in any non-approved way, yeah, that's trouble.
Yeah,
that's legal trouble. That's not just not just anything. No, that's legal trouble. So better not.
Yeah.
But every time I got a good report card, I just went to I just show I was very smart in that regard as a kid. First, I showed it to my dad.
Yeah.
Usually that means he took me out to the nearest ice cream parlor, and I got what I wanted. Got the best, my favorite ice cream. What do you call that? Bowl? That bowl is the wrong word, but then I showed it to my mom, trying to make it so that they haven't talked in between.
You trying to double up? I see what you.
Yeah, every single time it worked.
Amanda.
Then I showed it to my grandparents, also obviously separately. And I was making the rounds, man. I was living life.
Well, my grandparents, it wouldn't have mattered, but it depends on which one. On my dad's side, my mammy and papa, I wouldn't even had to have good grades. All I would have had to say, "Hey, mammy and papa, I'd like some ice cream. Mommy won't buy me any ice cream."
Oh,
so they'd take me like in a hurry.
Yeah, the thing is, the issue is with my grandparents, their communication with my parents was always pretty good, so I couldn't do that. If I went and said my parents, they haven't bought me ice cream in ages, they would be like,
see,
okay, let's call him first, and then they call him, and they're like, oh yeah, last week.
I was the oldest grandchild on both sides of the family, though, so I got terribly spoiled. Terribly.
The oldest said you got spoiled?
Yeah,
I thought it's always the youngest who gets spoiled. I mean, I'm the youngest.
No, not in my case. The oldest grandkid and the oldest grandson on both sides of the family.
And my brother's gonna disagree with you if he was here.
Amanda says, I'm 30 and I should have got my dentures years ago, but yeah, it's expensive to get done. It is expensive. I couldn't afford it. My ex-father-in-law actually paid for them for me. I started trying to get dentures at 18, believe it or not. But I got them at 24. And these are still the same. I still wear the same dentures that I got when I was 24. They're not broke, nothing wrong with them. They're a little stained, but not. Why get rid of them if they still work? And if it's so good, I don't have to glue them in. I just stick them in my mouth.
See, that's one thing that you're saying. We're probably a couple of it sounds so weird from me, but some of the young people, we're we'll probably say, wait, it's stained and you still use it.
Who sees it? It's in my mouth.
Yeah.
And I have so much facial hair that even if I grin and show my teeth, you're not going to see it. And I don't smile like that anyway. My best smile is usually about like a smirk. I remember years and years and years ago when J-Kid was just maybe, I don't know, 4 years old, something. Anyway, my sisters and I got together with what kids we had at the time and our spouses, and had a family picture taken to give to mom and dad. Had it blew up great big, and they hung it on their wall, and that thing. It was a present for mom and dad. Anyway, being the oldest and the tallest by a good bit, they had me sitting in the front, sitting down so that the rest could stand behind my wife and I and be seen. Anyway, the photographer's like, sir, would you smile? And I'm looking at her like, well, yeah. And my youngest sister pipes up. She goes, he is smiling. That's his smile. Just take the picture.
A similar thing happened to me a couple of days ago. I think it was last week. So I was having photos taken for job applications.
Yeah,
you tend to put a photo on those, and so you try to show yourself from your best side, and try to look nice and everything. And the thing is, my smile generally does not involve my teeth. Just I'm just not the kind of person. I'm just, when I'm smiling, I'm just I'm just grinning really more.
Right.
And so I was doing that, and the photographer, she was saying like, "Come on, show some teeth." I'm smiling already. What do you want?
Well, I smile.
Ultimately, I forced myself, and it looked ugly. And so ultimately, of all the pictures we took one where I was just grinning.
Trust me, you don't want me smiling a toothy smile at you, because number one, it makes me look like a serial killer trying to figure out how to slice you up. And second, it probably is what I'm doing if I'm smiling like that, considering how to slice you up, because I do that when I get mad. And when I'm about to throw hands, I'll give that smile. You do not want that to happen. But J-Kid's the same way. At his wedding, the photographer was going, "Come on, smile." And everybody's going, his sisters and I, and he is smiling. He takes after our dad.
Oh my!
We smile more with our eyes.
I don't want to throw it over to football altogether, but just because you said throw these hands, if you threw these hands, Nelson Aguilar still wouldn't catch him. But sorry, he's the number one person being ridiculed for dropping the ball too much right now. So I gotta chime in.
Yeah, Amanda, it is very expensive, and I could never afford. I couldn't. Like I said, I didn't even pay for mine. My ex father-in-law, well, he was my wife's stepdad at the time, paid for them. He had an ulterior motive, which I found out later. He thought he was going to use me as a slave and just do his bidding. And I said, you picked the wrong fellow for that. I appreciate the teeth, but yeah. But of course, he's since long passed away now. He's been dead for many years. But anyway, hadn't done. Wished I'd have done the bottoms at that time, and then had it out of the way, because I still get toothaches on the bottom, and I hate that. Ain't nothing worse than a toothache. Nothing makes you feel worse than a toothache. It just sucks everything right out of you, and all you can think about is that hurting tooth. So
I can't chime in on that. Never really had much. No, not
oh
really.
boy, well, you're blessed then, because trust me, and it is a medical fact. And even my doctor was talking about. You may remember me mentioned this. The doctor commenting on my bad teeth at my last visit. And, this is the doctor, not the dentist. He'd asked me if I had any bad teeth. I'll go, do I have bad teeth?
You should have asked him, do I have any good ones left?
Yeah. And he looks in, he's looking at my mouth, and he goes, "Oh my, they are pretty bad." And then he starts poking on one in particular. He goes, "Does that hurt?" And I said, "No, but it's gonna if you keep poking at it. Stop it."
You should have changed one word in that.
Mm.
You said it's gonna. You should have said you're gonna.
I tell you, yeah.
If you keep poking at my mouth, I'm gonna throw these hands.
I hate toothache so much. They can affect you, but it is a medical factor, was what I started to say, that a toothache can affect your actual health.
Yeah.
And can make you sick, and all because that tooth hurts. It just affects everything. And I hate toothache so bad that I have actually, if you have an abscess, they can't numb it. It won't work on the abscess. So they'll usually give you antibiotics to lower the swelling and take care of the abscess before they can pull that tooth. I have been in so much pain that I've begged them, just pull it anyway. Just pull it anyway. Pull it. I don't care if you can numb it or not. Get it out of there. And yeah, it hurt like crazy, but it felt better later.
Yeah, obviously, but jeez. The thing generally is that relieving pain is probably one of the best feelings a human can ever experience. And look, talking from experience, us men, when you get hit in the balls and it starts like the pain starts going away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that a good feeling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now my grandfather pulled all his own teeth.
Oh
yeah, he'd get in a mirror with a pair of pliers and
no.
Yeah, boy. My brother-in-law does too.
Why?
Because because he's a cheap redneck with no money.
Yeah, I was just waiting for that R word,
This is the brother-in-law that is from Kentucky and has a way deeper accent than mine, and wears cut off flannel, flannel shirts with the sleeves cut off of them, and paints flames on all his cars. And
oh god. There, with that one, you're hitting a nerve with me. Whenever, because the thing is, for the last couple weeks, I've been really getting into games like Need for Speed Payback, The Crew 1 and 2. Games where it's a lot about street racing, and where you can customize your cars.
Yeah.
And every time I've seen someone in any of these lobbies on any of these games with flames on their car, I'm just thinking, oh, dude.
This wasn't even a professional type paint job. He'd take a brush.
No.
Yes, I'm not kidding. No. He once had a truck.
Redneck
an old red Dodge pickup truck that he took an eagle, the kind of eagle that's supposed to be mounted on your mailbox. I don't know if you have them over there, but over here in America,
of course not. But eagles are, look, we have an eagle in our flag. By the way, you don't.
Yeah, I know.
So we're instantly better.
Right. But it's supposed
the only
to go.
Thing Germany's better at than the
It's
US.
Supposed to go on your mailbox, and he took and mounted it on his hood.
Did people put mail into his hood? That would be the best.
Yeah,
thing.
he's a much deep. He in his garage. He painted Jeff doggone it, Jeff Gordon's,
of course,
number and logo in the middle of his garage floor. It's massive. It's the size of his garage floor. Yeah.
If you're putting any racing legend on there, at least put Dale Earnhardt on there. At least big fat number 3. Come on, man. Not fucking Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and I am not joking. All of this is true. Every bit of it, the flames, the eagle, everything. He is the consummate redneck.
And hold on. Zombie Teddy says painting flames on your car makes your car go faster. No, it doesn't. It makes it makes you more of a douche. That's what it does. And that's all it does.
But Asian hippie. I went out dressed like a chicken last night, and I met a girl who was dressed like an egg. One thing led to another, and the lifelong question was answered. It was the chicken.
Well played.
I like that.
The thing is, that's something that could have easily come from Shio.
Yeah. And it makes you think just a little bit, and Yeah.
Congratulations. That's worthy of a clap. I
Yeah.
gotta
Asian
say.
hippie, you win the internet for today.
Yes. Asian hippie, post that on Twitter, and then I'll retweet that instantly. That's really good. If you have Twitter, if not, I will post it with your approval.
But yeah, he is the consummate redneck. Trust me on that. But he pulls his own. I'm like, dude, I don't think I could do that. I mean, I've done some pretty crazy stuff, and like I said, I have had them pull teeth without them being fully numbed. But I don't think I could do it myself.
Yeah.
First time I grabbed a hold of it, started pulling on it, and it hurt. I'd let go. Like, nope.
Yeah. you think I'm so brave? I'm going to do this now. Nope. That was a bad idea. Mr. Dax, it's too soon. I'm not even going to read what he said. You can read it if you want to. It's too soon, man. It will always be too soon.
Yeah. I was actually physically watching that race that he died in.
Wait, what do you mean physically watching? Were you in the stands
when it was live? No, I was watching on TV, but I was watching it live when it happened.
Wow.
And I've always been amazed is that if you look at the wreck, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, he bumps the wall.
The thing is, those there are two motorsport fatalities that to this day I cannot wrap my head around.
Yeah.
One is Dale Earnhardt, and the other is Ayrton Senna.
Yeah. You know,
and both of these, Shio, I hate you for this right now. I'm not gonna read it. No. But both of these accidents, both of these crashes, they didn't look bad. It's like, yeah, that's just your everyday crash that you see. I mean,
I've seen much worse crashes in NASCAR that people just walked away from.
Yeah, mostly because they happened later.
Yeah. You know,
and obviously, as time progresses, the safety precautions get a lot better. I mean, the same thing with IndyCar. If you look at the recent fatalities in IndyCar, and you look at, for example, the Dan Weldon crash, and you look at those and you think, yeah, I mean, that's pretty clear that was not gonna, he wasn't gonna get out of that car alive. But now you look at the 2019 spec IndyCar and you think, hey, in that thing, he has a chance. Yeah. If the same crash happens with the the aero screen, I think if that crash happens again, at least there's a chance, Yeah. But
I mean, it certainly didn't look anywhere as bad. I was at this is going to be long before your time. You probably won't even recognize the names, but some in the chat will. I was actually at the track when Salt Walters and when Sweet Savage died at the Indy 500. And I'm telling you, the fireball went up above the stands. It was terrible.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest improvements in safety in motorsports was the hardening the hardening of the fuel tank. You barely ever see a fire in a motorsport crash that just comes from impact, where just one car just full speed runs into the other and boom. Usually what happens is, if that does happen and the fuel tank does break in some capacity, usually you just see a spillage. You don't see a flame anymore, and that is something that they've really improved over the last decade.
That was a really crazy year too, and I hope I'm not mixing up, because I've been to the track a few times. Hope I'm not mixing up different races, but I think that was also the year that one of Unser's pit crew got run over by a fire truck and killed in the pit area. And it was the rain shortened year. They start, the 500-mile race is always on a Sunday.
Yeah.
This race ended on a Wednesday. It took them till Wednesday to get enough miles in to call it a race. It rained so much, and it was so muddy in the infield.
Jesus.
And I was there the whole time. We just camped out in a car. I was 15. And that was the year Gordon Johncock won it. 75, I think. I think it's 75.
What a name.
What, Gordon Johncock?
Yeah. 2 names and a body part.
Yeah. That was a crazy year. I don't think I'm mixing. I think that all happened that same year. I could be mixing up different years and stuff. Yeah, of course, living here in Indy, you go to the track a few times.
Yeah, that the thing is, that's one of the things on my bucket list, going to Indianapolis for an Indy 500.
Well, you can, if I still lived in the house that I lived in a few years ago, you could have parked at my house and walked to the track.
Damn.
If people here in Indianapolis know what I'm talking about when I say the Coke lot. And the Coke lot is a lot. It's
where they sell a lot of cocaine?
No, it's part of the lot to the Coca-Cola company, but they open it up for parking for the race during race time.
Oh, okay.
I lived right across the street from the Coke lot.
Oh.
I remember the first time, we only lived there like a year, but it was race time, and I'm sitting in the John taking a dump, and they were practicing. And I swear those cars sounded like they were going to come right into my bathroom. Oh, crap. I'm not done yet. Stop.
Hold on. Shio, what the hell are you sending me there? Shio just sent me a DM. I gotta show this to y'all. I gotta, hold on. I can screen share. It is, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about this. Hold on. This should be. Yeah, there you go. Can everyone see it?
Hold on. I haven't shared it. There we go.
Apparently, there was a Red Sox pitcher called Dick Pole.
Oh, yeah.
I have never heard of that, but oh my gosh. Yeah, why are you sending me that?
But most people that live here in Indy, sure, in their life, they go to the track a few times, and then after that, they're done, because you live here. And trust me, if you live anywhere near the track like I do, or have, for most of my life, you hate that freaking track. Because during race time, you can't get anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, the traffic must be an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it is. In the day of the race, the 16th Street, which is the main entrance, gets closed off. And you can only go to the track. You can't even leave because it only goes. They only allow you to go one way. You have to wait till like halfway through the race when they open it back up. Yeah, it's a mess. I don't like that track.
The thing is, as every oval in the history of ovals,
yeah.
It's just boring.
Well,
no, hold on. The track itself is boring.
Yeah. Have you ever seen?
And that's it.
Of course, if you've seen the track, you know that the Indy track is not exactly an oval. It's almost a rectangle with rounded corners.
I know. Not that I've ever seen it live, but obviously, as someone with an extensive history in sim racing, I've raced on it digitally before, and on usually in this day and age, thankfully, those racetracks that you play in, at least the good games, are all laser scanned in, so they're pretty much 100% accurate.
But it is an experience, and it is something I recommend everybody do at least once in their life, and go visit the museum as well. There's some pretty cool cars in that museum. Very nice. And there's if you're into golf, there's a very nice small golf course in the infield.
There used to be something else in the infield. I remember the years, what was 2004, 5, 6, something like that, where they used the infield for the F1 races. You must remember
Well,
the
yeah,
Formula
they've
One
used
in
it.
town.
They also have motorcycle races in there as well. But yeah, they turned it in kind of a road course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and look, I hope you were there. I'm pretty sure you weren't because usually F1 races are pretty darn expensive.
Yeah.
But do you remember anything about the 2005 Formula One race at Indy?
I don't, other than I was working for the limo company at that time. So we were doing a lot of business there. So
yeah, didn't the people that you drove around, didn't they tell you, like, weren't they pissed?
I don't remember, man. I don't remember.
Because so what happened, it is to this day one of the craziest things to happen in Formula One. So there were two different tire manufacturers, Bridgestone and Michelin. Three teams had Bridgestone, the pretty much front runner of the last 5 years, Ferrari, and the two absolute backmarkers, Jordan and Minardi. Every other team, so basically all the teams from second to eighth or ninth. I think there were 11 teams at the time, and so second to ninth, all on Michelin. Now the track was resurfaced. The oval was resurfaced,
right,
in 2000 or between 2004.
Yeah,
and
I remember that. Yeah. I mean, in this town, that's a big deal when they do something to the track. It's all over the newspaper.
Exactly, and that led to a problem for the Michelin tires. They were not able to handle the resurfaced track with their tires. They had an instant, they had a crash in practice. I think it was either practice or qualifying that was really bad, where a tire just blew at around. It wasn't the highest speed. It wasn't like the Indy cars when they drive over 200 miles there. It was around 130.
Yeah, now that
miles.
I remember a year they were having trouble with the tires, and NASCAR had trouble with their tires that year too.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, not as severely, but they did have trouble getting their tires together.
And so what happened is they were trying to find a solution. Some of the teams suggested to install a chicane in the oval corner there, in the final corner. That was batted down because that would have altered the track in a way that it wouldn't be compliant anymore with regulations, and they would have to reassess the track, which kind of bullshit, but bureaucracy at the time. And so ultimately what happened is the track wasn't altered. It was deemed pointless to just drive through the pit lane every lap. And so all the Michelin teams drove the formation lap, and at the end of the formation lap, they all pulled into the pit lane and retired before the start of the race.
Yeah.
And so the race went ahead with just these three teams. Ferrari at the very front, the front runner of the whole, not that season, but the 5 seasons before. And then the absolute two back markers of Jordan and Minardi. And it was the crowd was booing. The crowd was, as Zombie Teddy says, he was at that race. Crowd was chanting, "Shut the door," to the ones not racing. And it was ugly. It was one of the biggest scandals in F1. And man, you missed something if you weren't there.
I want to roll back a little bit and answer a question that was asked. RJ Benson asked, wasn't Indy one of the first super speedways? I'm not sure. I'm not sure on it, so I won't say it was, but it may very well have been the first super speedway. The speedway's been open since what, like 1911, 1919, something like that. They've been racing cars almost since there's been cars. I'm not kidding. The early races there were two people. There was they carried their mechanic on board with them, the drivers. But that's why there's a section of the track called the Brickyard, and that's why the whole track is called the Brickyard as a nickname. But there's a section, and that is the only section. It's about like 3 feet.
Yeah, it's a yard long.
Yard long, and it goes all the way across the track, and that is the bricks from the original track. It was made of bricks.
Yeah,
they kept that in.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's one thing that I want to do if I ever make it to an Indy 500 is when usually sometimes they allow people to walk the track.
yeah.
And just usually the winner of the Indy 500 gets to kiss the bricks, I think, right? That's
Oh,
like one of
absolutely.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I just want to touch them. I just want to be like, this is history right here. I
It,
just want to touch
it
the
is
bricks and
great. And
because man, those bricks are over 100 years old.
people don't realize that this town is really a super big racing town and always has been. You can't throw a rock in any direction without hitting some small track, where they race stock cars or midgets or something. You can't. There's a ton of them in town and in the areas all around. Tons of place to race.
Mm.
For all levels of racing, from the beginner to the expert. And not only that, the nationals, drag nationals are held here. So not at the 500 track. That's
Obviously.
in Claremont, Indiana, which I used to live next to the drag strip too. Boy, talk about loud.
Yeah.
When the nationals were going on,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. The one thing these drag cars or the builders of the drag cars do not care about it's noise.
Oh yeah,
They're just gonna make them. The one thing they do care about is obviously acceleration and speed are the
yeah.
two things at this point. But they're this is so amazing. These machines are not cars. Drag vehicles are not cars. I don't know what they are, but because they can't turn,
They're
they
monsters.
lift. They're monsters. They can't turn. They lift up their front wheels usually when accelerating from zero. It's absolutely insane.
They pull. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's an insane amount of G's when they take off.
Oh yeah.
It's unreal.
Mm.
And that's a big deal. And that track's open all year long. You can go there and race yourself. I've done it. I've went on the weekends just to watch, any car off the street. If they want to go race, see how quick they can pull a quarter mile, they can go.
Yeah.
Pay the entry fee.
I gotta say though, that is something that I would never do. I would never get into a drag car and try to run the quarter mile.
Heck yeah, I would.
I've seen too many instances of these things just getting completely out of control. I'm not a fan.
If I went, I'd want to ask the person that owns the farm truck if I could drive their truck. That's what I'd want to. Have you ever seen farm truck?
No.
Oh my gosh. Do yourself a favor. Go on YouTube and just type in farm truck wheelie.
Uh-oh.
This dude, it's a sleeper. It looks like a beat up pickup truck. It's even got motorcycles in the back and a camper shell. The door of the camper shell functions as a wing, and even the plate on the back says sleeper. Dude is bad.
Oh my god. I'm watching it right now. Oh my god.
Isn't it something?
Hold on. We're gonna see the wheelie. Come on.
Yeah.
I want to see this thing in action.
Yeah.
It looks so banged up. It
is.
Oh my god.
And he usually takes his little dog with him when he races.
Poor dog. Jesus.
He's even got like papers and stuff up on the dash, I love the farm truck, man. It's awesome.
Let's see, he's at the they're at the drag strip now. Oh my god. Come on. He's rolling up. Come on.
Well, they got to do their
burnout. Oh my god. I would not want to be in that. No. Ain't gonna happen. Gonna happen. I would look. I'm more of a circuit racing kind of guy anyway. Not oval, not drag. I'm more of a circuit racing kind of guy anyway. I would love to be on the passenger seat with a professional racing driver and a professional race car. Around, for example, around Le Mans, around the 24 hours famous race in France, or around the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
Well, like Zombie Teddy says, they have 2-seater Indy cars that you can, for a price, get a ride.
Yeah. They have two-seaters, two-seater F1 cars as well. At the same, those again, open wheelers. As much as I like them, I think the G forces are a little bit too much as well in those. I've seen.
Thank you, Wikipedia snippet. A dragster accelerates to a speed of 112 milliseconds over.
No, meters per second.
Over a distance of 398 meters. In order to exceed 300 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds, dragsters must accelerate at an average of more than 4 Gs.
Does someone check these dragster drivers for concussions afterwards? Because that sounds like a recipe for concussions.
And now you know, when they interview them, most of them will say their biggest fear is that the chute don't open. Now you know why. Because if that chute don't open, you can be in serious trouble.
Yeah, I just remember something. So we used to have here in Germany for a very long time, I think it was 2 decades, we had a late night TV host who was basically revolutionizing German late night TV. Basically his whole show was first 5 to 10 minutes doing stand-up, as you know they all do.
Yeah.
Then sitting down and just, you know, basically he's just shooting the shit with everyone with 2 guests usually for 20 minutes each, and in between he's making fun of some people, you know. Right. He's looking at, so what he used to do a lot was grab what other TV shows, like snippets from other TV shows over the last week, and just ridicule them. just taking them out of context and making fun of them. It was hilarious.
Can you imagine pulling up at a stoplight next to that truck? You look at it like, oh, okay, it's a beat up truck.
Yeah, and then
and it takes off like that.
Yeah. And so what this guy did, he also, you know, like obviously, you know, he did stuff where he put himself in danger. And one of those things, one time he booked a ride with an F1 car, you know, where they a 2-seater F1 car, where he was put in the back seat, and all you see is his helmet just with every corner, it's just moving around. When it's a right hand corner, his helmet just instantly plops to the left and hits the whatever the, you know.
He passed out.
He didn't pass out, but he was damn close. And that's, you know, looking at this, I'm just thinking, you know,
I was just thinking,
I don't want to do that.
I was just thinking because I remember seeing a video once of somebody going up in a fighter jet, getting a ride, and the pilot.
Yeah, he did that too.
the pilot does a loop, and this person passed out at the top of the loop.
Yeah. He did that too, and he I think he vomited, and again he barely passed, or he almost passed out.
I would do it in a heart. I would always. That's one of the things on my bucket list is to go up in a fighter jet and have them put it through its paces. Do your worst, dude. Do your worst. Make me puke.
No, I was on a roller coaster here in Germany called Colossus, which is, I think it was at the time the world's biggest wooden roller coaster. And I was like, my face turned milky white afterwards. I was so close to puking, and I did not feel well. The only
rides that make me feel sick are the ones that go around in a constant circle. And then they'll make me feel ill. But roller coaster,
for me, if it's too much speed, if it's just too much, or more, it's probably more likely to be too much acceleration. Really, speed isn't the issue; acceleration is.
My being a Hoosier is probably in my blood because, like I said, this is a racing town.
Yeah,
I mean, to the point, some people, you might not even realize that a lot of racing teams in all forms of racing have their headquarters here in Indy. There's an area of town called Gasoline Alley, and they're all down in through there. And that's the actual name of the street, Gasoline Alley.
Wow.
but one of my most prized possessions that I used to have, I no longer have. It disappeared, and so it's also one of my biggest regrets. Is when I was a little kid, I was in the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts, and they took us to the track one day. And this would have been, I think, 1968. And I got an autograph on a little checkered flag I bought at the little stand, bought a little checkered flag, and I got an autograph by one of the drivers, Mario Andretti.
No,
Yes, sir, and that was this.
No,
I'm pretty sure that was the first year he won.
No,
Yes,
that's amazing.
Absolutely did.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
man.
He was a very nice guy too. He went around to all his kids and signed our flags, and just was really nice. We didn't understand a word he said. His accent was still pretty. He's been in the States now for so long. It's not very thick, but at that time it was still pretty thick.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Man.
Mario Andretti, the biggest regrets that disappeared. I wished I knew what happened to it. It may be in my dad's garage somewhere.
I look, the thing is, I would kill for that,
Well,
because the thing is, Mario Andretti I don't know if you understand, but the man has won everything in his career. He's been an F1 world champion. He's won 4 IndyCar. I mean, you know that, but he's won outside of the US too. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Indianapolis, and I've been saying all along, and it's really true. I can't stress it enough. We are a racing town. We understand racing. We get into racing. We know racing.
Here's a fun stat. No American has won a Formula One race since Andretti 1978 at the Dutch Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 41 years, and none. And there have been a couple of Americans in F1. None of them. He's to this day the last American F1 race winner.
But can you imagine? Here's this big driver. Of course, he wasn't big yet. That was his first year to win the race. He was up and comer at that time. But can you imagine this race car driver going into the stands and just he talked with us and everything. It was just really cool. He was a super nice guy. Super nice.
Man. I'm legit jealous right now.
Yeah, it's. I wished I could find it. Wished I could find it to prove that I'm not just blowing smoke. It really did happen.
Yeah,
but
the only I gotta say the only racing driver ever who would beat that who I would want who I would want an autograph from even more. Would be Graham Hill, because he's the only one who won the Triple Crown of racing.
Yeah,
he was an F1 world champion. He won Le Mans and he won the Indy 500. He did all 3. He was the only one to do it so far.
My other memory,
Alonso is trying right now, but that didn't go well.
My other big memory, back in the cars used to be louder. They used to be much louder. The Indy cars and stuff, and the house I grew up in is probably 8 miles away from the track, but you could hear them clear as day when they're running. And there was a year, and I cannot remember the driver's name, which is terrible because he was a popular driver at the time. But for a couple of years there in a row, he drove a turbine car, and it sounded like a jet going around the track, and you could really hear it. So, yep, he's driving again. I can hear it. You can't hear it now so much. I still live about 8 miles away. You can hear it if the wind's right. You can catch maybe a little hint of it going around, but not like you could back in the old days. They've quieted them down quite a bit. But anyway, we are now at that part that everybody knows it's going to happen during one of my streams. Man has
70
to go.
minutes.
has to go pee. I've been sitting in my chair doing the pee pee dance in the chair for the last 10 minutes.
Of course, because usually it's always 60 minutes until you have to. And
Well,
of course.
I was interested in our conversation.
Fair enough.
But anyway, I will be right back.
Alrighty. Meanwhile, chat, do you want some NFL betting picks for today for the Thursday night game between the 49ers and the Cardinals? Because I got some good ones. I've actually got money on that game. You know, I've put money on both the spread and the total. Hopefully, both of them work out. Dallas doesn't even play. Dallas doesn't even play tonight. Clinton, come on. It's the 49ers against the Cardinals. Sent you another one. Yeah, sure. I saw. Somehow you have an obsession with dick and cock. I'm not going to speak to that, Shio. You know. But yeah, I think the Cardinals are going to cover, and it's going to go over. Where is the total right now? I bet over 45. I think there's a good chance it's even going to go over 45. But the oh wait, no, that's the wrong game. Yeah, 43 is where it's right now. The total. Yeah, it's going to go over 43 for sure. But yeah, I got some money on that. Let's hope it works out. Cardinals will win over 21. Hold on, what do you mean over 20? So they're going to score over 21 points. I don't think the Cardinals are going to win. Cardinals are not going to win. It's the 49ers. They're 8-0 right now. Or 7-0? Something like that. They're unbeaten. No way in hell Cardinals are going to beat them. No way in hell the Cardinals are going to be the first one to beat them. No. Let's see. Hold on. 49ers schedule. Let's see. Who's going to be the first one to beat them? I think it's going to happen every game, like at any game now, but not this one. Seahawks, week 10. Yeah. Seahawks, week 10 are going to be the first ones to beat them. It's a Monday night game. National television. Seahawks are going to be fired up. Wilson's going to do magic. And they're going to win. And welcome back, old man.
Yeah, thank you. I was scrolling back through the chat hoping somebody answered my question of who that driver was that drove the turbine car. But no, I don't think anybody did. If they did, I'm not seeing it. And I can't believe
at the Indy 500?
Yeah, because I can't remember. It'd probably be easy to look up, but you know my computer, I don't want to open any other tab.
Was it an STP Paxton car?
Ooh, I don't remember.
If so, would be Parnelli Jones.
Yep, that was him. Parnelli Jones. I can't believe I could think, because he was a big name driver.
Yeah,
big name. But while I was
Joe Leonard also drove it in 1968, but crashed during qualifying, not in the race, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, I did think of a slightly humorous kind of racing story while I was away. At that period, about 1968, the cars had, the look of them had suddenly changed drastically. Like previous to 68, they were still kind of rounded looking. And 68 was one of the first years they were really long and low and sleek. They didn't have the airfoils on them yet, the wings or anything, but they were like really low to the ground, really sleek, and you know what I mean. Not as so in the Cub Scouts, they have this thing that's called Pinewood Derby. I'm sure you probably know what that is, don't you?
Yeah.
Where they give you a block of pine, and you're supposed to carve it out into a race car that's gravity.
I've seen South Park.
Yeah. So
they do, they do show it there.
The first Pinewood Derby I got to do, everybody wanted to carve theirs out to look like the new Indy cars, all low and sleek and all this stuff. I carved mine to look like really old school racing.
Yeah.
I'm talking like the Monopoly car, the game piece.
Yeah. Nice.
I won every race. Because
Nice.
what these other kids weren't figuring, they were cutting so much off to make it sleek, they were losing all that weight.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't have an engine that powers the car, if you just, you're racing it down a slope, of course, what's going to happen is you need weight, to actually make it go faster. You can't just design what would be an Indy car to race in the Pinewood Derby. That doesn't work because physics tells you it's not going to work.
I went. The kids were all laughing at my car. Oh, this is so old fashioned,
Yeah, but it had the weight to propel it forward.
Yeah. And I can remember it almost made me cry. I was just an 8-year-old kid. It hurt my feelings because all the other kids are laughing at me. My dad says, "Don't worry. Wait till after the race. We'll see."
Yeah.
And I won everything. I was like, yeah.
that was your first instance of facts don't care about your feelings.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, fun times. I always liked the Cub Scouts. I quit before I actually became a Boy Scout. He says with air quotes you can't see, because you don't become a Boy Scout till you're 11. And I quit as a Weeblo, which is 10 years old.
As a what?
Weeblo. It's an Indian word. But
sorry, that's too funny to me. It's like someone's trying to make a pun with Weebo Jones. It's just
no, it's
Weeblo
with an L at the Weeblo.
Okay.
It
just sounds funny.
At 6, at the early stages, you're a Bobcat, and then you become. I think I may be getting these two mixed up. I think it's a Wolf Scout, and then a Bear Scout, and then a Weeblo. I may be getting the bear and the wolf mixed up. It's been a lot of years since I was in Cub Scouts. But
yeah, we know you're an old man. We know.
Yeah. I am. And I was just up looking out the window as I come back, and boy, it's snowing. It's not sticking, but man, it's sure flying. But yeah, racing,
yeah,
sports, and you see, that's the point of the stream. You never know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. See, while you were gone, I was talking a little bit about football just to get it out of the way.
I caught that. I could see the chat. Some of them were trying to sports.
Yeah.
Hey, if we mention it once in a while, deal with it.
Yeah.
And I seen Functional earlier trying to mess with me, saying that racing's just slightly less gay than football. Bite me. I'm a redneck. Those are the two sports I really care about: racing and football.
Oh my god! I just found something that. Oh my god! I don't. How I'm always scrolling on Twitter, and oh my god, Ann Coulter, tweet of the century. Someone named Cat Turd, and I'm not joking. Or not just 3 hours ago, posted a tweet for all you foolish Tulsi Gabbard fans. She just voted for the illegal impeachment coup. She's just a better looking Nancy Pelosi. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, and we all know that she's a Democrat, a leftist, but she's the more electable of the bunch so far.
Yeah. Hold your horse. Ann Coulter quote tweeted that saying, "No, she didn't. Tulsi is a senator, meaning she's in the Senate and doesn't vote on House resolutions."
Yeah. So
that's not accurate. She's a representative.
Yeah.
Ann Coulter didn't do her, basic Googling for like 5 seconds to find out that Tulsi actually is a congresswoman and not a senator.
And you're You're surprised why?
I'm not surprised. I'm just laughing. And Coulter being on Coulter once again. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Ah,
And
good old slender Ann.
Big Chief Fuzzy Beard of Gold City says, and every time you talk about football, you'll have to hear me snore. That's okay. I don't mind. Trust me, I try to not make it a big part of this stream, but if we mention it once in a while, you're just going to have to deal with it because I love football. I mean, on Sundays, you know, I have my premiere for Redneck Trek on Sunday afternoon. But other than that, I shut off to everything. You can ask Alex the next time you see him. I don't even talk to him on Twitter or anything because it's all about football. And I start in from the moment the pre-games start, and the local pre-games start at 11:30 a.m. So yeah, so I'm going to mention it once in a while.
Just very quickly, speaking of Sunday, just about your Colts.
Mm-hmm.
You know who they're going to play, right?
Yeah. In this Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? What are the chances?
Well, Pittsburgh hasn't really done that well this year. So there's that.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh has been the handers out of some bad beats on our part over the years.
But this is not the Pittsburgh team with Ben Roethlisberger. This is Mason Rudolph now. I
think we got a shot to pull it off, but it's going to be a close game. All of our games this year have been close.
Yeah, the thing is that's how I see it as well. I think it's going to stay within a field goal.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get much closer than last week's game. God, an ugly game, but the ending was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, man, Jacoby Brissett, dude.
He's for real, man.
Yeah,
I had my doubts coming in. I'll admit it. I had my doubts, but he's for real.
And I'm just wondering how much of it is Andrew Luck's surprise retirement, where in his head, Jacoby went, well, I'm the guy now. I got to step up.
Man, I got to.
Yeah, and he's pushing himself to it, and he's successful doing it.
Well, this whole team has a tendency to play over their head. I mean, look at this young defense. These guys are nobodies, and they've been playing over their head the last few games.
Yeah, that's something that I see so often in the NFL is just players that have faced serious adversity in some way or another, just absolutely stepping up. It's so many players now with this chip on the shoulder mentality in the NFL. And I don't think we've seen that all too often before. I mean,
I think a lot of it is our coach. He knows how to lead men.
Yeah.
You know, he tried to get into college coaching to begin with, and he couldn't make it. And that's a blessing on his part because he knows how to lead men. You know, college kids are still boys, more or less.
Yeah.
He knows how to lead men. He knows how to talk to men. I seen the locker room after the Kansas City game. And after the Texas game, and it was calm as could be. Wasn't none of this jumping around like they just won the Super Bowl or none of that. He goes, "That was a good win, guys, but okay, now we're on to the next one." You know,
that's the one thing that
this team would to go to hell and back for Reich. I really do.
Yeah, that's the one thing that does worry me about the Packers right now. That after the win over the Raiders, the very convincing win where Aaron Rodgers for the first time in Packers history posted a perfect passer rating.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's already jumping when he's still talking about, you know, giving Rodgers the game ball and reading out his stats. Everyone's already jumping, and I'm just thinking, come on, guys, like
real quick,
celebrate. Listen to the coach first, you know.
Yeah, real quick. Thank you, Lupus Stamen, for the very nice donation over on Streamlabs. Good to see you. Good to see you too, man, and thank you. But anyway, let's pull it back.
Yeah.
Let's pull it back. And
I'm with you.
Maybe we'll have just an NFL stream sometime where we can just clear the air, and people
I
will label it that way, and people will know that's what they're getting into when they tune in. So
yeah, I had the thing is I understand that since J Kid wasn't able to make it,
yeah,
the whole what was it, Redneck's Pigskins, or the other way around.
blood on the gridiron.
Yeah, exactly. That is is how do you canceled?
Yeah,
But man, I would love to see it back. I want to be part of this again.
yeah, we'll work on it. Maybe we'll figure something out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just that particular thing. The whole point of it was to do something with my son, with J Kid, and it just doesn't feel right if he's not
Yeah.
part of it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That was the whole reason behind me even starting it to begin with. So, but anyway, yeah, y'all can come back now. I seen the 5 or 6 of you that left.
Jeez.
Y'all can come back now. We're done talking football.
Yeah.
Bunch of sissies.
I mean, I could talk for longer, but we're gonna stop.
Yeah, I can too. Trust me.
I know.
Yeah, but anyway, so what else? Oh, there's been something on and I actually titled my last week's stream and never got to it for one reason or another, because I let these streams take whatever direction they want to. I don't make a topic and force it to stay on that topic.
Wait. Before you go on, speaking of title, I just realized what the title of this one is.
Maybe it's cold
outside. Are you gonna date rape me?
Maybe.
No.
You sure do got a pretty out there, boy.
No.
If I say that when Alex is around, it just does him in. He's like, no, don't say that. But I've seen some things lately on Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter a whole lot the last several days, and that's on purpose. I don't have the Twitter app on my phone because I want to be able to step away from it if I want to, when it gets on my nerves. And I just haven't been in the mood to get on. So most of you notice I haven't posted much. I get on, maybe check it in the morning, and then maybe before bed. Probably the last week, almost 2 weeks, probably. But Twangs Banjo, I'm in West Virginia, Twangs Banjo. But I seen a conversation and it kind of stuck with me. It was with people that was in this genre, or people that, I came into YouTube with, what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing this trend that some of them have backed away so much that, well, here's the way they were talking about some alt-right people or had some alt-right ideas. And the YouTuber said, you to another YouTuber said, we helped support this, right, in our old content. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
That's BS.
Yeah, I titled my last stream, I haven't changed in decades. And that's true. I'm pretty much the same guy that I've been now, politically wise, attitude wise, personality wise, that I've been for decades. Now, I get it. You're a young person and young people change. I did too when I was young. But I don't get that. I don't. We don't believe that books or movies or video games or anything causes violence. We've had that discussion.
Yeah.
It's a topic that comes up now and again. So why do we believe the content that we had? And I'm not ashamed of any of the old content that I've ever done. I'm not ashamed of. I may have changed. I'm not putting it out like I was, and I do these live streams and I do Redneck Track. But that doesn't mean I'm ashamed of it or I've changed my viewpoint. I don't understand.
Yeah.
As a young person, is that, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm asking here from you.
So as someone who, I've done videos in this genre as well, as you know. And I have taken down all of my videos of that time, but it's not because I was ashamed of them. I really wasn't. It was for the fact that I was completely changing my channel, and
Yeah,
I'm doing completely other stuff.
and I get
So
that. That's the change that I've made. I'm just changing
yeah,
my channel a bit. Doesn't mean that I've changed my viewpoint at all. I
yeah,
probably haven't changed my politics or viewpoint in 40 years.
mhm,
You know?
yeah. For me, it hasn't been that long. Uh, Mostly because I'm not alive for 40 years yet.
Uh,
Um,
Real quick,
but
thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. You always put out, old man. Yeah, well,
but since you were talking about this whole one YouTuber or two YouTubers saying like, we helped create this or we helped like no I'm with you there, like just no. When I was doing videos, I made my point clear, and one of my first videos literally was criticizing Lauren Southern over her whole spiel with generation identity
mhm.
in Sicily. That was one of my first videos. Like how would you say to me that I, as someone who was in this genre and had at the point over 1,000 subscribers, I mean, at least something,
Yeah.
not great, but it's something.
I
That
13, oh,
yeah, yeah, that I was, that I was helping this in any way. I was criticizing in my very first, or I think it was my second video, but it was the first that really got viewership. My first one really didn't. But that one was, I think, until I took them all down, was my most viewed video on the channel.
yeah.
And how are you gonna tell me that I helped the fucking alt right? I
Oh,
didn't.
I've always
I've always been critical of generation identity. Always have been, always will. Well, no, always have been, always will be. Hopefully, um,
I've always made it very clear that I'm not down with a lot of alt-right talking points,
yeah,
and particularly race realism, which upsets me to the point that I can't even discuss it in a video because I get too angry, and
mm-hmm,
that's no good for anybody. It just
yep,
makes me mad to even think about it. I've always been, we get grief because you don't call out the right enough. I always have. If they
yeah,
do something stupid, I can't help it that the left does it more commonly,
yeah.
publicly.
I I had a fucking tweet today. When I found a picture on Facebook, I posted it on Twitter, and it was a picture of two kids, for Halloween, dressed up. One in a suit with a button that says Trump 2020 or 2016 or something Trump, and another in a jail uniform, all striped black and white with a Hillary button. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, it is a funny picture, but come on, parents, don't choose your kids' costumes for them, and don't politicize Halloween. Like, yeah, it's funny, but come on, be better than that, parents,
I mean,
please.
for instance, uh, we get accused by some of huffing each other's farts. Just protecting each other and all of that, not calling each other. I was one of the first people to ever call out Sargon in this group. I was calling Sargon out in a video before it was popular to call out Sargon. you
Yeah.
know, and some of his crew, and that didn't go over real well with some of them. But
Mm,
hey, I knew it wasn't going to.
yeah.
When I did it, it was just I just don't understand this feeling. I get it that you want to change gears. I get that. I understand
Mm,
that. I've got kind of fed up with the whole political stuff too.
yep.
To a point. Um, and I've always felt that my channel really wasn't that political anyway. I was calling out more social things, and laughing at stupidity rather than making it political. But regardless, I just don't get this feeling that they've got out of it so far that they feel like they were part of the problem now. I'm like, no. Are you now ashamed of what you said? Have you changed your mind? Do you no longer believe that? Is that what the heck?
Yeah. The thing is, though, for some people, you know, their political views change. And I gotta say that is fine. You know, if you get to look, I talked about this before. When I was 16, 17, I was a supporter of the Green Party here. So I was pretty much a leftist. Not obviously a leftist in the late 2000s, but a leftist nonetheless.
Yeah.
And since then I've developed, and I I had a talk with my uncle over this, and he said, well, you didn't develop to the better because he's still a supporter of the Green Party, and I'm not. I he saw an NRA sticker on my laptop, and he was kind of aggravated. But but people change, and just in the same way that sometimes, rarely, people move from conservative to liberal.
Yeah,
That happens too. But don't disavow your whole past because of it. Like, if you move from conservative to liberal, you don't have to disavow everything you've ever done. You don't have to.
Part of my, I guess, is that a young people thing, or because, like I said, I haven't changed who I am, but maybe just slight little small.
It is obviously a young people thing. Young people do. I mean, young people change rapidly. You know, it's just because we're developing. You know, you're old. You're at a point where you're just declining. You're just.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had to.
How well did you develop, Badger? D cups.
Cryptic, you want to suck on him?
But honestly, it's hard for me to. I guess it's hard for me to get a handle on, because I've been a conservative ever since I can remember. And let me put it this way: I didn't learn that. My parents vote Democrat. Okay, I my own mind.
Yeah,
and I bet I haven't changed very much in that respect since I was 17, 18 years old. I guess I'm just not that kind of person. Yeah, Amanda, I know that you're argumentative, and I can be too. You and I have streamed a few times together back in the old days. And Pat, yeah, I had to unfollow Charming a long time ago. He got mad at me and got upset because I corrected him on a point of American history. Now, who do you think knows American history better? An almost 60-year-old guy that's been a history buff his whole life, that lives in America and is an American, or some British kid 20-something years old?
Hold on. You should have argued it a little differently. You should have started with the 20-something-year-old British kid, and then said, or the guy who was literally there for all of history.
Yeah. And it isn't just that; it's just he got it wrong. The argument he's trying to make. And I didn't even come out about it mad. I just come on Twitter and says, "No, that's not exactly right. This is what happened."
Yeah, generally, what I see is a lot of people, whether in usually it's millennials and Gen Xers, who tend to be very full of themselves. Let's just say that, who tend to believe that they know everything, and that they're always right, and that they have all the answers, and just like, no, take a step back, man. Just take a step back and reevaluate whether you actually know that shit. Maybe, there's this thing now, this little device called Google. You can use it for information. That sometimes the information you thought was right turns out to be wrong. That's why I personally, that's the programmer inside me. I Google everything. That's just because it's the way programmers operate. Because usually, if you program something, someone else has done it before, so they know what they're talking about. They posted it somewhere. usually on Stack Overflow. And you just look there and you look at their solution, and you find usually that it works pretty well for you as well. Sometimes you have to adapt and change it a little bit, but generally, everything you do as a programmer, you usually just Google. You know what you're doing, but
That part is that I actually like Charming. I did. It's just he's gotten so touchy that I can't deal with it anymore. You can't
but
say anything around him.
but generally, just to everyone who thinks they know the answers and they have all the answers and they know everything, just Google a bit more. Just use the internet a bit more. We have all the information. We have all the knowledge there combined. Yeah. Just use it. Just use it.
Think about it. I come by a lot of my knowledge when I was younger in the day where you had to pull out a thing called an encyclopedia.
Yeah, I have one of those downstairs, by the way. Hold on. When I say one of those, I'm talking about, was it like 15 like different books? The whole set, yeah. 15.
Badger said Stack Overflow.
No, stack. Like a stack of whatever. I don't know. Stack of dice, or not sack, a stack. For fuck's sake.
Yeah, I remember. And man, them
Cryptic, hold on, Cryptic, you're Asian. You should know Stack Overflow. Every Asian is a programmer, right?
Yeah, and in those days, that's all you had was encyclopedias, and boy, they weren't cheap.
Yeah. They were
They were expensive.
Oh yeah.
And Mom and Dad also had these things. I don't know if they have them overseas, but they had them here in America. They were called Lincoln Library, and they were reference books. They weren't exactly encyclopedias, but they were kind of hard to describe. You could find just about anything in there, And
Mr. Dax says Cryptic is a rice queen, so he only knows Stack Overflow. Well played.
Yeah, in today's day and age, I enjoy that part of the internet. Yeah, the internet gets on my nerves and it makes me mad sometimes. Social media and stuff like that, dude. But it's like everything else; it has its good uses, and the information flow is one of the good things.
You got one there.
Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. I do use Stackflow. You use Stack Overflow. Okay.
Cryptic, listen. I don't even know what to say.
I think you were trying.
It was a good one. It was a good one. But
But yeah, I do enjoy it. You can get on the internet and anything you want to find out about it. Most things you can find in a heartbeat. Now you got to be careful. Check your source.
Yeah, generally, if you find the same information in 2 or 3 different sources and you deem those sources credible, meaning it's not just a blog.
Well, myself, what I do is I purposely try to find the opposing viewpoint.
Yeah,
and then compare the two and make up my own mind about what seems logical.
The thing is, and I heard Glenn Beck talk about it, and I found that very interesting. So Glenn Beck's way of seeing the world, or finding out about the world, learning about the world, involved taking 2 books that both had the opposing, that both supported opposing viewpoints, and extract from them what both agreed on, because that must be the truth, right? If 2 who support opposing viewpoints support the same thing in some way, that's pretty much truth, right? I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that. So it's a really good way of filtering out opinion from fact. If everyone, not everyone, but if 2 people who support opposing sides can still make one argument the same just for their purpose, you can pretty much be sure that argument is an accurate argument, and that's fact. Yeah. But But what I personally always like to do is just try to read everything, whether it's, I don't purposefully search for the opposing view, but I just read the opposing view basically naturally, because I do have like part of my it's such a weird word. I hate it, but at the same time, it's a pretty good descriptor. News diet
Yeah.
is, of course, stuff like Daily Caller, Daily Wire, Fox News. Obviously online because I can't get it here. But it's also stuff like I even go so far as to read the Daily Beast every now and then, which I find a horrible publication, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're doxing people for
Yeah.
posting pro-Trump memes. Great.
Real quick, thank you, Furry Kitten, because I was actually thinking about that. Remember, kids, Wikipedia is not a reliable source. However, I agree, because anybody can go in there and change it. However, it doesn't mean that it can't be used as a tool. If you use Wikipedia, there's supposed to be links to all the sources for that information. Follow those links and see if what they're saying is accurate.
Yeah.
And it can be a good jumping off point for any research that you're doing. Is it the end all be all? No, absolutely not. But it could be a good jumping off point.
Yeah. And another thing, there's when you learn about, like, usually in history class, that's where I learned it.
Yeah.
About what sources are and how to use different sources. There's primary sources and secondary sources. Secondary source is a newspaper article, stuff like that. Primary source is an account of what actually happened. Let's take, for example, the whole Trump-Zelensky call.
Yeah.
The closest the primary source would be an actual recording of the phone call.
Right.
The closest we'll actually get is the transcript.
Right.
The transcript is the closest we'll get to an actual primary source. It's not perfect. You got to be aware of that, because from what we found out about the transcript, it's that it was, apparently a couple things are, in the balance, are not sure whether that's actually correct. If it was written down correctly, but it's the closest we get, because those phone calls usually aren't recorded.
Right.
All you get is a transcript. Everything else we hear, the witness testimony, the newspaper articles, that's all secondary sources. That's all, and nothing will ever be as good as the primary source. No secondary source will ever be more accurate than the primary sourse. Right. That's just a fact.
Right.
So all this impeachment inquiry nonsense, the hearings and all that, I'm over it, for the simple reason that we have the transcript. We can read the transcript, and we basically know what happened, and it's always more believable than any. And this is not an indictment on what was the military guy, Vin something. Hold on, I'm gonna Google this. Vindman. There he is. Yeah, this is not an indictment on Alexander Vindman or on the whistleblower or anyone, but we have the transcript. We know basically what was said on the call.
Yeah. Well, and we may eventually get to hear the call after Trump's no longer president.
No, usually those calls are not recorded.
There has to be a recording of it. Otherwise, they have how would they have a transcript?
Because someone sat next to it, and
they're recorded more often than you think, and some of the most famous recordings are like LBJ and Nixon and all those guys. We've all heard those phone calls,
on phone calls with foreign leaders.
Yep.
Okay.
Phone calls with all different kinds of people.
Yeah, but foreign leaders specifically, because that involves someone in a different country. Phone call with I don't know. Phone call
in
between
that case, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
but we
exactly.
could. We could. but not while he's a sitting president.
Yeah.
Certainly not.
Yeah, that is true. If your kitten says primary sources can lie their asses off, no, they can't. A primary source is a primary source. Again, Vindman, for example, would not be a primary source. He's a secondary source because while he was there for the call, he can only testify. He can only talk about what he thinks.
It's still considered hearsay because it's secondhand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The primary source is really what actually happened. A secondary source is always a telling of what happened, is someone else telling what happened. The primary source is the recording, and the closest we'll get to that is the transcript. Because again, during his presidency, we will not get the recording. If there is one, that's always the qualifier. But yeah, again, primary sources do not lie, because primary sources are generally not influenced by people. Generally, that's why I'm saying the transcript isn't a full primary source, but it's the closest we'll get.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily now. I'm not making a judgment on the people involved here at all, but it's not necessarily that the people are liars. It's just human beings' memories are imperfect.
Yes,
I'll give you an example. Look at how many people thought that Darth Vader in Star Wars is "I'm your father, Luke." Right? How many people say that the primary source would be the movie, the actual movie with the lines?
Exactly.
And the secondary source would be, people saying, well, he said this in the movie.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
what he said, which he didn't. And it's not just that, but there's a lot of examples like, Bogart never said play it again, Sam. People just think he did. People's memories are imperfect.
Exactly.
And, that's why you've got to go to the primary source. Mm-hmm. And it has to have the weight behind it.
Exactly. And another thing that could happen is that a primary source can be taken out of context. That can happen.
Right.
For example, that's something that Media Matters, for example, likes to do with Ben Shapiro quite a lot. They just take something that he said and they cut it up to make it sound like he was a horrible, horrible human being.
Oh yeah.
They do that all the time. And yeah, they're using primary sources. They're using what Shapiro actually said, but they're cutting it up in a way that, no longer makes it a primary source because they altered it.
Well,
and that's something that has come with the internet. That you need to, even when presented with a primary source, you need to ask for context. But for example, if we go back to the transcript, it's the whole transcript. There's nothing that was, censored, that was, classified in any way. It's the whole freaking transcript that we got to see, that was published for everyone to see. So you have the whole context.
Yeah. Michael Myers says, can we talk football now? I know, dude. It doesn't matter. Whatever topic we cover, there's going to be somebody that doesn't like it.
Yeah. That's why I don't care. I would just talk 2 hours of football if I was in charge here. But that's just me.
Yeah. It's going to, my channel's not all that political, but it's going to creep in once in a while because it's current events and, and it is important. Trust me, I'm not one of these people that loves politics. Now, Monkey, love the man to death. He's one of my best friends on the internet, hands down. But the dude loves politics and talking politics. I mean, I'm the opposite. I hate it.
Yeah, I gotta say again, just like you, I love Monkey, obviously, but the Monkey loves what a monkey does.
Yeah,
shit flinging. That's what politics is at this point.
Yeah,
it's really just a shit flinging contest, and of course, Monkey being, having chosen that as his animal, that's what he's into.
It's the same. I hate politics too. Yeah, and that's why I always say that, my channel's never really been political. It's more social. I talked about social issues. Politics might get involved as they pertain to those social issues, but primarily I don't tackle politics. Honestly, politics bores me so bad I don't completely understand politics, to be honest with you, sometimes, because it just so completely bores the crap out of me.
I gotta say, as someone who enjoys strategic thinking, I do like to play chess, and
I've been playing chess
and
since 6 years old.
yeah, and all that. I have to say, the strategic side of politics does interest me, but everyone's like, no one's, or very few people seem to have any morals, and that's what pisses me off. Like, at least there are, of course, legal rules to politics. You can't, finance rules and all that kind of stuff. Laws.
Big Chief Fuzzy Beard of Gulf City says, I'm here for the background noise while I play video. So is that all I am to you? It's just background noise? Are you telling me I'm just noise in the back, just white, just drone?
Old man,
trying to tell me?
old man, be happy he's got you on. Be happy he's watching.
Jen, the only reason I talk about politics with you, everybody, is because mine has blown up on my face. I get it. No, I get it, Jim. What you've done, we're not even talking about what you've done. That's no. It's just there are people that's their whole life, 24/7.
Yeah.
It's just politics. You go on Twitter, I can tell you right now, I won't mention any names. So Fane. That's all that man eats, sleeps, and drinks. Freaking politics. And God, there's more to life than that. That just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And he's not the only. There's a lot of people.
See, that's why I've shifted so much to sports. Sports at least is fun. There's banter, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I would even go to a bar with a Vikings, Lions, or Bears fan.
Yeah, well, yeah.
As much as I hate their teams, but
Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. You are a white voice while I work.
That's racist.
Yeah, well, them Asians. You know how they are.
Yeah. And Cryptic especially.
But I mean, but if that's your thing, if you enjoy it, hey, you crack on. You go ahead. I'm not.
And Asian Hippie, one more thing. Asian Hippie says American politics is more fun than UK politics. You haven't been watching the whole Parliament sessions, right? I mean, order. That's all I hear. This is so great. Come on. UK parliamentary sessions are so entertaining. Like, seriously, if you've never watched one, go do it. It's the one legislative body in the world where you go and think, yeah, that's actually good TV, That's actually fun to watch. Look at the fucking Senate and the House in the US. Fucking boring.
Well, the only time I've ever been super into something like that was during Watergate, which I know a lot of your times, but you couldn't not watch it. It was on every channel.
Yeah.
24 hours a day, live.
Mm-hmm.
You had to watch it. And I was 14, 15 at the time.
Yeah.
And I got into it. I'd never seen anything like that before. That was freaking nuts.
Yeah.
But
yeah, generally, in the U.S. Senate and House, like the last speech on any congressional floor that I've seen was, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, by Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, the most boring speaker I've maybe not ever heard, but oh man, is he hard to listen to focus on. Like, he may be a great legislator, as in, he knows how to write bills and how to get them passed and all that. That's nice, but
it's not a great orator like Reagan.
Yeah, don't let the guy talk. just Give that to someone else. Someone else can
That,
deliver.
that was Reagan's,
Make Ted Cruz deliver the speeches.
that was Reagan's big strength, is he was an absolute phenomenal orator.
And he was funny at
Yeah.
that too. Like he had, and I saw a video about that. I think we're going over the 2 hours, but I just want to get that out. I saw a video because I haven't lived during Reagan, of course. Being born in '93, that was
the president I voted for.
Yeah, I would have voted for him too. But I was listening to some of his, not his speeches, but parts of his speeches, and mostly the humorous part. And they with every president, they just preserve everything that they had in their desk when they left office, and that all goes into their library, like how every president gets a library. And they looked at that, and he actually had little cue cards where he wrote jokes on.
I don't doubt it.
And that those are those one-liners that he then delivered, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, he was very enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, he always had one. He always had one up his sleeve, and it's absolute. And the thing is, I think Trump is the closest we have to Reagan ever since Reagan. The closest we have to him. Because Trump also has this off the cuff humor, not in the way of policy.
In my mind, Reagan was more John Wayne, where Trump is more Andrew Dice Clay.
I have no idea.
A very in-your-face, offensive comedian from the 80s.
Okay. So basically, wait, John Wayne John Wayne was not a comedian, was he?
No, he was an actor. The dude.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, why are you comparing an actor to a comedian right now?
Yeah,
that's where But yeah, Trump is much more on the nose. But they both have this off the cuff humor. They both have this where they go, off prompter and just let it rip. Just. In their own ways. Fair enough.
Before we end this, because we are past time. Elowen, yes, I remember the Gulf War, and yes, it was 24/7 on the TV. I remember that very well. And also, she says, I'm reading the title of your stream, and I'm wondering what Christmas song the SJWs are going to try to ban this year. Funny that you should ask that. I just heard on the radio, I think it was yesterday morning, that there has been a remake. Yes, it's been made more politically correct.
Yeah, it was. Hold on, I need to look this up. It was John Legend, of course, and Kelly Clarkson.
Yep,
and it's the least romantic song ever.
I haven't heard it, but I can only imagine.
They've rewritten everything. That made the song what it is, basically, and just turn it into this really just an SJW version. Really, that's the closest description I can give. Ben Shapiro ripped into it. It was hilarious. It's just so bad.
Anyway, how time flies. We are at the end of 2 hours, and it really doesn't seem like it. It doesn't. Prospero says there is a horridly PC remake. I think there was a great parody remake done as well. Yeah, it was the PC remake that Badger just mentioned with the and Clarkson that I was talking. But anyway, we're at the end of it. So this is the time where I thank you, chat, for coming out and spending your time listening to us and supporting this channel with your likes and your comments and chats. Thank you to those that were able to donate. I sure appreciate that, and it'll go to great use. I forgot to mention. I wanted to mention. I picked up an application for the smoke shop down the street that I frequent. So keep your fingers crossed. I'm going to try to get a part-time job down at the smoke shop. So make a little more money. I don't know how that'll affect the streams, but we'll work it out. We'll work it out some way or another. But anyway. Thanks everybody for coming out, and thank you, Badger, for joining me. Anything you want to shout out?
Thanks for having me. And yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel. This next upcoming Tuesday will be the third episode of the Refuse to Lose podcast. With our first guest, and I'm very excited. He is. I'm not gonna give out the name just yet, but just so you know, he is one of the official F1 Esports Challenger Series commentators. So he's actually involved with Formula One, basically in some capacity, and I'm very happy that we were able to get him. So they're just, you see, like, there's my channel, just it's pretty easy to just, click on the 3 dots on the right and then go to channel and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, wait, what? What?
It's a Star Trek Next Generation.
And also go follow me on Twitter to be kept up to date on any NFL stuff, on hilarious political stuff and memes, mostly memes.
Me Alex. I expected somebody to call me Alex when I mentioned getting the job. No, this is just going to be part-time, a couple of nights a week, and weekends probably 3 or 4 nights a week. Just a little extra money to help with the bills around here. And it shouldn't affect the channel whatsoever. But I might have to reschedule some things depending on how I'm scheduled. I don't know. I'm talking like I already got the job. I've been actually asking them every time I go in, are you hiring? Well, when I pulled in this morning, they had a help wanted sign out front. So I said, here we go. And I told the lady, the manager, I said, there's one thing for sure, that you're going to get at least 5 good years out of me. Because when I turn 65, I'm going to retire, but I'll be the best employee you ever had up to that point.
Mr. Dax has no shame in being a male escort, Bloodwing.
I'm a little old and ugly for that. But anyway, as for me, the next Redneck Radio will be Saturday at 2:30 Eastern. Also be on the lookout for episode 19 of Redneck Trek, 5:30 Eastern on Sunday. Well, the Steeler game is 1:30 game, isn't it?
1:30.
Well, 1:30 Eastern.
They always start on like normal time, like 1. But yeah. I think it's an early game. Yeah, I think
we got one 4 o'clock game coming, and I don't remember which one it is right now. I have to check that week, whichever it is.
It seems like it's a 2 p.m. game. Is it because of? Do you have your daylight savings change?
It hasn't yet. It's going to change Sunday.
Yeah,
night.
Exactly. Yeah, this Sunday. Yeah, that's why it's going to be a little bit screwed.
But anyway, be on the lookout for that. And I'm going to get prepared to, like I said, I don't do Halloween very well. And this might seem terrible to some of you, but I'm going to turn out the lights and hide and hopefully get left alone. So.
Jacob should come and ring your bell.
Are you kidding? He's even lazier than I am. So no danger of that. The Steelers is an early game. Thank you. Yeah. So, but I'll double check on when the late game is, because on that day, the premiere for Redneck Trek will have to be rescheduled. But I'll try to give everybody a decent amount of heads up for it. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. We are way past the 9 minutes past. My gosh. See, that's the sign we're having just too much fun.
Yeah, indeed.
But we're going to get out of here. So thanks everybody again, and get out of my yard.
Bye.